So I cut my hair short, even though I secretly wanted it long. And when I turned 10, I replaced my once favorite faded pink unicorn shirt with a navy blue Cosmos one. The Cosmos were the New York professional soccer team that Father had taken us to see play at Giants Stadium. And I liked the way he smiled every time he saw me wear it. The summer that the Baker family moved in across the street was the same summer that the Cosmos last played, after the North American Soccer League folded and Father's hopes for an American soccer craze were dashed. It was the summer Audrina and I befriended Max and Sally Baker. And it was the summer that Sally disappeared. Sally was 4 years old, and I used to think about how I was 3 times her age when it happened. For years afterward, come each birthday, I would divide my age by 3, even though I was aware it didn't actually work that way. I am 13, and Sally would be 4 years and 3 months. I am 15, and Sally should be 5. When we heard that the Bakers had moved to our sleepy New Jersey town from Boston, I instantly felt like they were special. In our 6th grade class, we'd read about the famous historic events that had taken place in Boston, like the Boston Tea Party and Paul Revere's Midnight Ride. And I envisioned that it was a bustling, exciting city, much like New York City, which we'd last visited the previous winter. The Baker family must have stories to tell, I decided, and I wanted to impress Max with my historical knowledge of his hometown. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, I'd uttered from atop my bike the first evening we met. Our street dead-ended into a cul-de-sac, and we neighborhood kids would congregate there in the early evenings. Summer was in us and around us. We played kickball, tic-tac-toe, hopscotch, and sometimes even made a makeshift shuffleboard with chalk and a marble. Other times we just twirled around on our bikes until the sky began to darken and fireflies started to appear. I remember how Max and Sally had stood along the hickory tree-lined edge of the cul-de-sac, waiting to be invited in. Max held Sally's hand as she buried her blonde hair into his side. He was cute. Just about the cutest boy I'd ever seen. Long brown bangs that swept sideways across his blue-eyed face, and a right-sided dimple when he smiled, which he did suddenly at me. I remember how my hands grew wet on the clasp of my handlebar, and how I wished I hadn't chopped off my hair a few months earlier. Paul Revere, he'd replied, his dimple growing even more pronounced. Sally put her hands over her face and then parted her fingers slightly so she could see. Borka, right? Max asked. I flushed, surprised he knew my name, but then realized Mother had likely dropped off a welcome basket to their house on our behalf. Yeah, but everyone calls me Bee, I quickly replied, wanting to erase the word Borka from his vocabulary. How I hated my name. Audrina appeared next to me, and I wondered whether Max had actually been smiling at her instead of me. She wasn't on a bike. She hadn't been on one in a long time. Those days, all she wanted to do was wear dresses and skirts and watch with a bored look while we horsed around.